Hello, everyone, and welcome to CE Unplugged, the voice of the CE industry, an initiative by ICEMA. I am Ashwini Pai Jhabak, Vice President at Pazlona Group, and also the co-convener of the Brand Communication and Membership Panel at ICEMA. And today we have two very distinguished guests, Saurabh Agarwal ji, who is Executive Director of ACE, and also the co-convener of the Technology and Sustainability Panel at ICEMA, and Dimitrov Krishnanji, who is MD at Volvo CE India, past president of ICEMA, and also the current convener of the ICEMA Tech and Sustainability Platform. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you so much for your time. We have a theme for today, which is tech and sustainability and how the next era of this industry is going to be shaped. Over to the first question. Considering where we are and all the new age technologies that are coming in, what do you think is going to shape the industry?
I think, firstly, I have 3 points on this one. Firstly, it's about the regulatory changes, because at the end of it, biggest technology shifts happen in any market based on the regulatory moves that happen. And we have seen in the past BS3, TV4, and then now CV5, which is already operational since last year. And now, which has basically regulated close to 60% of the industry volumes. And now the balance, which is mostly the, excavators and those kind of products, which are not regulated, are also in progress with the off-road construction machinery norms that are in the discussion between Ministry of Road and the, ICEMA as an association. I think the main push from these regulatory shifts is firstly fuel efficiency improvements. Given the change, the way regulatory move is happening, there is much better combustion efficiencies, giving us cleaner engines and lesser emissions. And at the same time, there is also safety norms that are actually improving, and that improves whether it's the noise levels or the safety for the operator in terms of the protection systems and all that. That is the first theme that actually, from a technological move that is happening in the country, which is more broader and all encompassing, impacting all the manufacturers. Secondly, if we talk from a pure tech perspective, deep tech perspective, I think, in my opinion, electrification of construction equipment is the latest trend, which is basically bringing zero emission products, and which is gaining ground faster, especially in certain product categories like wheel loaders that we have seen good traction. And I'm sure it will impact many other sectors like hauling and also excavators in the future. And it is also gathering speed now due to the recent West Asia crisis, the fuel prices going so high. I feel the demand for electric products is only going to increase. Another trend, which is still early stage trend, or even I would say challenge for the industry to monetize, is the area of productivity, where connectivity and automation or semi-automation, which will drive productivity gains. While productivity gains are already happening with many technological innovations being introduced, when it comes to connectivity-based solutions, we have not yet been able to monetize it in a reasonably good way in the industry so far, right? And I think it's a challenge both for automotive and the C industry, and that's the challenge. But at the way, irrespective of the monetization of the value, the trend is already in play, and connectivity, which further enables automation and semi-automation, is the third thing. These are for me the three major things that are happening. I don't know if Saurabh, if you would like to add something to that.
Yeah, maybe a few things. Good afternoon, everybody. And, I feel that sustainability, and when we talk of technology and sustainability, if technology targets sustainability and all the innovation that we are doing and evolving, if sustainability is at the forefront of that when we are evolving things, so it should be, much better with respect to sustainable future, sustainable infrastructure, and most of everything. And yes, Mr. Dimitrov did mention the emission norms, the latest ones. And here, the CV5 standards, which we are currently doing in our country, they are more stringent than Tier 5 in Europe or Tier 4 EPA in US. So they are perhaps one of the most stringent. And Yes, going forward, electrification is already happening, has started happening, and most of the companies have started pursuing this chapter, trying to shape up the future. But I would say connected technologies, digital solutions, AI-based solutions, other things. So it's very important that the machines are made cleaner, safer, more productive, more efficient, in a way, smarter machines.
And Saurabh, to continue on with this, what do you think would be the sweet spot between, we discussed government and regulation and policy, academia and learning and new knowledge and industry?
I feel that the industry needs to take the lead. So whatever we design, whatever we evolve, that has to be sustainable, that has to be smart. But industry alone cannot do this. So a lot of government support is required, especially in the initial stages, policy support, incentives. You just look at automotive electrification or automotive vehicles which are increasing. So, it was helped by the government of India. It was pushed, it was subsidized, it was incentivized, and that's how it happened. Apart from that, a lot of other policy support or infrastructure support is required from the government. I mean, for example, we talk of CNG, but then availability has to be present across so that it can support the equipment. And more importantly, I feel for hydrogen because hydrogen is going to be the future of construction equipment, especially all the heavier ones. So commercially viably available hydrogen is a very important aspect. And yes, academia is the key because if we have to develop advanced technologies, if we have to do it in a cost-effective way, so academia has to play a big role in it. A whole ecosystem has to be created with respect to industry, government, academia. There has to be a partnership to drive sustainability, to drive it to the future. And I believe that academia can contribute quite a lot even in the current stage because most of the electric machines use motors, controllers, battery management systems, and even batteries. So, newer cost-effective technologies or more efficient technologies within the same available. So I think that is the way forward.
Thank you.
Maybe I can just add one more sentence to what Saurabhji has mentioned is that, I think the role that associations like ICEMA need to play in this is very critical. That, at the end of it, all to make the whole ecosystem work towards adoption of sustainable technologies, someone has to play the accelerator role, and then I think the as an association ICEMA can play a critical role, and which it is trying and doing as well. And I mean, regulatory work we do a lot. I think in the area of academic collaborations, we could do much more. I think we are still early stage involvement there, and there both from the perspective of driving new research into newer areas where companies want more research work, but also the other way around, where the academia is behind the industry when it comes to awareness about global technological shifts, right? That's also the both aspects are there which we need to bridge, and equally to attract talent to our industry. And I think the rest, I think you have already mentioned sort of regarding government support, especially to drive R&D work in our country. There is a need to do something specific there.
Thank you. Krishnanji, the next question is for you. I mean, considering all the advances in electrification and AI and things like that, and where our immediate neighbors and the US are, what do you think would be the short-term focus on tech for India, and what should be the long-term focus of tech for India?
In my opinion, all the technologies that you mentioned, whether it's electrification, automation, telematic connectivity, AI, alternative fuels development, every one of them will have will have an impact. In terms of how it shapes the industry. But I think my personal view is that electrification has the highest. Because it is actually creating a new alternative driveline, completely very different from what the industry has done so far. I mean, the industry has worked on the diesel engine for so many years, 100 almost a year, 100 years, and now the electric driveline brings a lot of new possibilities in the way energy is used in a product. And this shift is, one is that it is completely rewiring of the DNA in terms of how products are designed and how things are looked at, how energy is used in a system, and hence it also means that we have to, for a period of time, manage both technologies, which is the older technology and the newer technologies, and bring in talent that understands the newer ones while dealing with the latest legacy systems. At the end, other point which Saurabhji mentioned earlier is equally important. I think among all the alternative fuels considered, I think hydrogen is the most fuel of the future. It is also an area where at the ecosystem level, government is doing many things to try and have hydrogen available in a good distributed manner, and also to, from an energy security perspective, probably become more so there is a strategic impact of hydrogen to the whole economy, and I think that will probably be the one which will impact between 8 to 12 years time frame. Next 8-9 years is mostly going to be electrification that will impact, and then the hydrogen. And then, in my view, the hydrogen also has an electric impact, in the sense that the drive lines that will get developed, the efficient drive lines that will get developed in the meantime, will have also an impact on how hydrogen gets used, whether it is as a fuel cell or whether it is as a IC engine based hydrogen product. I think both of them will need more efficient downstream energy usage systems, right? So electrification will probably be the main theme, in my opinion.
Saurabh so looking ahead to 2030 and beyond and India's sustainability goals, where do you see us headed, and what is going to shape a better tomorrow for the industry and the people in the industry, right? All the stakeholders within it.
See, our sustainability goals are connected again by using something cleaner, creating less pollution, and making smarter machines so that productivity, efficiency, and conservation of resources happen. And I feel that the construction equipment industry today is undergoing a fundamental change, and technology is at the heart of it. And most of the industry is thinking and working towards that direction. But like mentioned earlier, the goal cannot be achieved alone. The industry has to take the lead and make investments in whether it's innovation, whether it's technology, whether it's sustainability, and has to be supported well by the government with the right policies, and also we require help from country.
And just one last question to both of you. The current war and all the situation in West Asia, how is it going to steer or accelerate things within the Indian infrastructure industry?
Well, I think the one point which we already discussed on the impact of war is the impact on raw materials, right? Incoming raw materials as plastics, fuels, lubricants, and all of that. I think the inflation element is a big one, and I think that is something that we need to see how that will impact technology. At the end of it, every problem statement, we will always try to find a solution. And I think there one change which I have seen, at least, we've been marketing electric products for roughly 3 years, and I can say whenever I met customer, it was my initiative to talk about electric machines to that customer, right? Okay, here is an electric machine. Have you considered using it? Why it is beneficial and stuff like that. In the last 4 months, whenever I have met a customer, without prompting, I have received a question about electric. It shows a very fundamental shift in the way customers are thinking. They are trying to find a solution for their cost problem, which is caused by fuels and lubricants and stuff. So I think that is one specific shift. At the end, I think more than that, I think when you think about our businesses, it is very much about the shift in the global geopolitics around how the industry is going to be organized. And I think one of the big themes that which got started in COVID but is getting accelerated by this war is the regionalized value chain approach, where companies are thinking about having self-contained, regional value chains, at least around a major economy, that you can manage your business completely within that. So localization, localized materials and things like that are important. I think one of the other things that will surely impact our industry is the way technology gets shared across borders. And I think the leverage that, I mean, one of the things we have seen, for example, infrastructure is a strategic sector for India. it is going to remain strategic for the next 25 years until we have built most of our infrastructure. How much do we want to depend on neighboring countries or other countries to be able to build our infrastructure? So how do you actually become self-reliant on that from a technological perspective, from manufacturing capability perspective? So we are seeing already those moves by the government when it comes to this the incentive program that they announced in the budget, and that should target both localization and local product development. And also in the way, if we look ahead in terms of where the manpower is available for our industry from a global point of view, I mean, India will also emerge as a global hub for manufacturing of the industry, and it's already is emerging, but it will emerge even more strongly in that regard, given the fact that, take for example, our FTAs are driving us closer to many different major economies, and this is something that we should leverage to try and get that foothold in those markets, that we are a more trusted partner for businesses. So this geopolitical environment that's evolving, we need to, of course, capture it. So for me, these are all the various impacts of the current crisis, which has both risks but equally opportunities at the same time, right?
Saurabh?
So here I would just like to add that definitely because of this ongoing war, alternate energy, alternate fuels are, especially electrification and going forward hydrogen, are going to gain a lot of momentum, a lot of focus. But yes, a lot of inflation which has already been caused, and Mr. Dimitrov talked a lot about that. So, unfortunately, that will also make the cost of the equipment go up, and there could be some impact on the demand because of that. So that is one of the, let's say, a negative impact of the war, which the industry can experience going forward.
Thank you, both of you. So now we move to the next section, which is a rapid fire. So a small phrase that comes to mind when I ask these questions. Dimitrov, sir, you first. In one sentence, what does sustainable infrastructure mean to you?
For me, it's high quality and durable infrastructure assets that have the minimum carbon impact in the lifetime.
Great. And Saurabhji, which emerging technology excites you the most for the future of the CE
AI,
industry?
yeah, I would say AI, IoT, automation. I think that is the way forward. It can totally change the way we use our machines.
Krishnanji, what's the biggest challenge slowing down sustainable technology adoption today?
I think it's too much emphasis on lowest cost price for tendering. I think that is creating a negative spiral in the industry when it comes to how technology gets adopted by people.
And Saurabhji, the last one for you. One piece of advice for young professionals entering the construction equipment industry today.
I would say stay curious, keep learning, and definitely embrace the new technologies and innovations and ideas that you see around.
Great. Thank you so much. So now the concluding question for the session is something that you would leave for our listeners to take back and remember this CE Unplugged episode by.
I think the innovations that will happen, whether it's electrification or development of even more efficient hydraulic systems, these will surely revolutionize India's infrastructure development. While at the same time, with all the other efforts that are going on today in terms of making the industry robust, ecosystem robust, it will take us, of course, to be the number one market in the world in the time to come. I think in 10 years from now, India is set to be the number one CE market in the world. And I think that's the biggest message I would like people to take.
I would just like to add that technology as well as sustainability both are totally not separable, and technology has to take the lead. I would have thought that in the next 10 years, India could be the second largest global hub for construction equipment, but I would side with Mr. Dimitrov on this that yes, let's be number one.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Krishnan, for your time, your effort, everything on being here. And to our listeners, keep listening to CE Unplugged. Thank you so much.